The Ballad of Frankie Lee and Judas Priest, written by Bob Dylan, released in 1967, and this is my version of The Ballad of Frankie Lee and Judas Priest. Frankie Lee and Judas Priest, they were the best of friends. So when Frankie Lee needed some money one day, Judas quickly pulled out a roll of tens. And he placed them there on a footstool just above the plotted plain, saying, "Take your pick, Frankie my boy, my loss will be your gain." Frankie Lee, he sat right down, put his fingers to his chin. With the cold eyes of Judas on him, his head began to spin. "Would you please not stare at me like that," he said. "It's just my foolish pride. For sometimes a man must have to be alone, and this ain't no place to hide." Well, Judas, he just winked and said, "All right, I'll leave you here. But you better hurry and pick which one of them bills you want before they all disappear." "Well, I'm going to start my picking right now. You just tell me where you'll be." Judas pointed down the road and he said, "Eternity." "Eternity," said Frankie Lee with a voice as cold as ice. "That's right," said Judas, "eternity, though you might want to call it paradise." "I don't call it anything," said Frankie Lee with a smile. "All right," said Judas Priest, "I'll see you after a while." Well, Frankie Lee, he sat back down with a feeling low and mean, when just then a passing stranger burst upon the scene, saying, "To you, Frankie Lee, the gambler, whose father is deceased? Well, if you are, there's a fella you're calling you down the road, and they say his name is Priest." "Oh, yes, he is my friend," said Frankie Lee in fright. "I do recall him very well. In fact, he just left my sight." "Yes, that's the one," said the stranger, as quiet as a mouse. "Well, my message is he's down the road and he's stranded in a house." Well, Frankie Lee, he panicked. He dropped everything and ran till he come to the spot where Judas Priest did stand. "What kind of house is this," he said, "where I have come to roam?" "Not a house," said Judas Priest. "It's not a house, it's a home." Well, Frankie Lee, he trembled and he soon lost all control over everything which he had made, while the mission bells did toll. And he just stood there staring at that big house that was as bright as any sun, with 24 windows and a woman's face in every one. Well, up the stairs ran Frankie Lee with a soulful bounding leap, and foaming at the mouth he began to make his midnight creep. For 16 nights and days he raved, but on the 17th he burst into the arms of Judas Priest, which is where he died of thirst. Well, no one tried to say a thing when they carried him out in jest, except of course a little neighbor boy who carried him to rest. And he just walked along alone with his guilt so well concealed, and muttered underneath his breath, well, nothing is revealed. Well, the moral of this story, moral of this here song, is simply that one should never be where one does not belong. So when you see your neighbor carrying something, help him with his load, and don't go mistaking paradise for that home across the road.